In our next video here, we're going to try to find out what an actual inverse is. Given the fact that we have a one-to-one function, we should be able to find an inverse, and your book gives you a strategy of how to do it. This is a strategy. There's at least one other, but this one will be fine. All right, so I've taken, sorry. What you do is you solve the equation y equals f of x for x. So you just set everything equal to x, and then you interchange the x and y values, and then once you're done, you set the y equal to f inverse of x. The other method would be to just exchange the x and y's at the start and then solve for y, but it amounts to the same thing. All right, so for problem number 189 from your book, they want us to, part A, find the inverse function, and part B, find the domain and range of the inverse function. Well, let's talk about the domain and range of the inverse function first, because there's a nice, easy way to figure this out. So first, the domain of an inverse function, so say f inverse of x, equals the range of f of x. And similarly, the range of the inverse equals the domain of f of x. So what we have here, let's do this. We're given a quadratic, but if you note, I've highlighted that x is greater than or equal to 0. We're restricting the domain to be just the non-negative values. Thus, our horizontal line test will work, and we can actually find an inverse of this function. So what this looks like, we're shifted down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because our vertical shift is 4 down, negative 4. So the actual graph will look, something like this. This is f of x. Okay, so if we're looking for the domain and range of our inverse, so we can find the domain of our inverse, which is going to be the range of that f of x function. Well, if you note, it goes from negative 4 to infinity, our range of the original function. So the domain will be the same. All right, the y values that this function can take. And similarly, the range of our inverse will be equal to the domain. Well, the domain we see is x greater than or equal to 0. And we can write it like that, or we can write it in interval notation like this. I don't care which, as long as it's correct. So we've already answered part B. This is part B right here. Now part A, we're told to solve for x here. So let's do that. I'm going to replace f of x with y. And then we want to solve for x. So we have x squared equaling y plus 4. We add 4 to each side. And then x equals the positive or negative square root of y plus 4. But we know that the square root can't be a negative, so we can restrict this to just the positive values because we know that x has got to be at least 0. So this means that x equals just root of y plus 4. And then we exchange the values x and y, so we have y equaling root x plus 4, and we replace y with f inverse. And that's what we do to solve, and when we're trying to find what an inverse is, to actually find the function.